Yo, what is up, everybody? Chris here from Big Sports News, X Rotation, however the flip you know these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into Week 5 of Stage 2 of the CDL 2026 season. Now, hope you guys enjoyed the intro as always. And today we're going to be kicking things off with C9 New York taking on the Toronto Koi, the Toronto Kips, whatever you guys like to call them. I think this will be a pretty decisive 3-0 for the Toronto Koi. I think some Dens get through here, even though the Toronto Koi look to be the Den Demons of the CDL at the current moment. I think that Cloud9 will likely chow them on Den because they're good at it. If they chow them on Den or Scar, I think no matter what comes through, Toronto win it. Even on exposure, I feel like they'll win that. So I was a 3-0 for Koi. I mean, the last few weeks obviously been very unpredictable, but I'm just going to keep doing my thing. At some point, things are going to peter out. You have to figure out the matchups and just how everything goes, right? So I'm going to rock with Koi in this first series. Second series of the day, that's going to be a tough one. Both teams have been playing quite well. Riyadh is fresh off of a win over Toronto Koi, hot 3-0. And of course, the Miami Heretics are off of a Game 5 victory over the LA Thieves. Now, both teams are looking quite hot. Riyadh's improvements came down to maps last week against Toronto Koi. It was all a game of the vetoes, no dens, no wins, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to say that Miami, I think they're the real deal. You know, my boy Dempsey, he's the big Miami Heretics fan of the moment right now. And, you know, I think the pathway for Miami to win this series is definitely through the S&Ds. The hard point of the Riyadh Falcons has been phenomenal, as is Miami's. Their hard point's been really good as well. But I do like the the Miami Heretics to take the S&Ds. Let's look at these two teams comparatively right now, real quick, though. So for Major 2 quals, you have the Riyadh Falcons as a 9-3 hardpoint team, 2-6 S&D team, so that's why I like Miami to take it. Miami conversely is 6-2. They have the inverse record. And then they are 5-2 in overload, and like I said, 9-3 in hardpoint. Miami's at 50% in hardpoint, and they're at 43% in overload. So I feel they steal one of these respawns, and then they take an S&D. So probably if they get a favorable map 1 pick for themselves, something like a Scar, then I feel like they have a good chance to take this in 5, potentially even 4. So in our last matchup of Friday, we have OpTic Texas taking on the Paris Gentlemates. And yeah, I don't see the Paris Gentlemates Greasy Neck Tour trademark ending anytime soon on this quite warm Friday the 13th. I think that the nightmares for the Gentlemates continue. And, you know, Freddy Krueger is still playing Michael Myers in their dreams. So I think the Green Wall get it done with a 3-0 here. I've just put enough stock in mates, and they have looked absolutely lost. So no more of that. Speaking of no more of that, I will not be doubting G2 Minnesota anymore, my friends. I am a believer. Skies, Mamba, Estriel, Kremp, they are pulling it together. They're really showing us that their Major 1 performance was not an overheat for the weekend. It was indicative of how good this team really is at the game and how good they will likely continue to be for the foreseeable future. With that being said, I think the Royal Ravens will likely be pretty smart and pretty savvy in the vetoes. If they get an exposure and a black heart, let's say in this series, I do like their chances. And if they get like a Colossus S&D somewhere, I think they have a good chance to take it 5. So I'll say it goes 5 just because I think there's probably like a Colossus S&D, maybe a Colossus HP, some things that the Royal Ravens can certainly hang their hat on. Now, speaking of a series to hang your hat on, I think this one will be a surprising Game 5. I think it goes the way of Koi. Their S&D's been looking phenomenal, but Vancouver Surge, their S&D and their hardpoint has been looking really, really good. Much improved with Capsidol. And I think this is going to be an absolute bang out that comes down to advantageous maps for each team. If I see a Scar come through, I'm certainly going to like that for Surge. If I see a Den come through, obviously that's going to Koi in my mind. And if I see a Colossus come through, I'm going to like Surge there as well. So I think this is going to be a map pool decided kind of series. I think it's just going to be I think the result is going to be a result of the map layout, right? So If you get maps favorable to Koi in the back half, I think they win the series. If you get maps favorable to Surge in the back half, I think they win the series. Now, speaking of maps favorable to people, I think there will be likely no maps that come through in this map set that will be favorable to Cloud9 taking on the LA Thieves, especially the LA Thieves who had such an embarrassing and rough week, right? Losing that matchup to FaZe, certainly not what you expected from these guys, right? And then to lose another really, really close one to the Miami Heretics. I mean, you can't have a more heartbreaking weekend, getting to game 5 in both cases and losing both. So I think the LA Thieves, with that in mind, with all of these questions coming from the community, hey, you guys need to make a roster change, another one so soon. You know, is Hydra really that good? Is this Hydra and Scrap duo ever going to be good enough to get over that hump and consistently win? I think they're going to come out on Saturday and make a statement in their first series of the weekend. Now, speaking of people who I think will make a statement in their first series of the weekend, we have the Boston Breach taking on the Paris Gentlemates. And while the Paris Gentlemates are on a greasy neck tour at the current moment, I think it probably stops here, right? Boston, I mean, it's like coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb still, right? Like Boston, they've looked pretty good in certain matches, but based on how they looked against Koi, the dysfunction that came through in that series, I don't think much has really changed. I mean, they played Cloud9, they beat up on those guys like you would expect, right? They lost to the Ravens. Of course, they beat FaZe, but FaZe looks absolutely shambolic right now. So, I'm not super sold on Boston yet. I mean, if they can take this one, I will 100% be sold on them. But going up against a FaZe that looked paper thin, I'm just not too sold on them. I mean, they look like that P1 like wall on Den, like that's how thin they looked, right? FaZe that week. So I'm not sure. And FaZe also just looks very, very fraudulent at the moment. So I'm not going to take a victory over them and really be, you know, too motivated by it or too swayed by it is a better word to use. So that's my analysis. That's why I think Mate's probably taken to game 5. I mean, their COD has not been looking good, but it also hasn't been looking that bad either. Envoy, I don't know that he'll keep playing as badly as he has in a couple of matches in the most recent split. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna think Mates. I think they regain here. I think they stop their losing streak at 4. Now, I think the Boston Breach, I think they continue their loss streak, right? I think G2 Minnesota, I think they have shown that they're probably, if not the second most consistent team in this stage, probably one of the top 5 most consistent teams in the stage. So I think they continue to keep winning. Let's look at their standings in stage 2 right now. So they're 4-3 at the moment. They look really good along with Miami, Riyadh, and LA Thieves. Then you have Koi, who are emerging contenders, and then everybody else. So yeah, with that in mind, I think G2 keeps up their winning ways. I think that they go 6-3 after the end of this weekend. And then looking at the Miami Heretics, I think they have another weekend where they win both matches. I think they go 6-3, right? So going up against Vancouver Surge, much improved with TJ and Cap, of course, being added to the roster in place of Lunars, Legend, and Abe. I do like what I've seen from the Surge, but I just feel like Miami is in the upper echelon of teams at the moment. I feel like they're kind of cementing themselves as the team that they were becoming towards the end of the season, right? Towards the end of stage 3 and 4. But now they're starting off there in stage 2, right? So I think Miami's picking up where they left off last year with Trakes instead of Real. Different team, better pacing, better performance. And yeah, I think they get the dub here. I think they'll look significantly better than Surge. And I think their map pool is significantly deeper than Surge's as well. I like them on Scar. I like them on all of Surge's best maps exposure as well. So yeah, I'm going to rock with Miami here. Now, second to last matchup of the weekend is going to be an absolute banger. We have the LA Thieves taking on the Riyadh Falcons. And man, this is going to be an interesting one. Now this is just going to come down to, excuse me, whether or not I think Hydra has really been in the lab throughout the week going into the weekend. If I think he'll be on one trying to show everybody that he's still Hydra. Playing up against AG. He loves playing against Pred. Cell. Abizi, Neum, Scrap. Versus Pred, Cell, Kiz, X. Hydra. You are the X factor. I'm gonna say Hydra gets get back. I mean, why would I not think Thieves here, right? Like, I think they should have a 2-0 weekend. I think they'll go 2-0. I think Riyadh Falcons will be the only 4-3 team that we're looking at that doesn't go 2-0 on the weekend, right? 4-3 teams. We have LA Thieves, who I think go 2-0. Riyadh, who I think go 1-1, right? Did I say 1-1 for them? No, I said 0-2. Yeah, so I think Riyadh ends up 4-5 by the end of the weekend, and I think that G2, Miami, and LA Thieves end up 6-3. That makes sense. So in the last match of the weekend, we're going to have a really important one for the standings because both teams are currently at 3 wins. FaZe has 5 losses, while Carolina conversely has 4. So they could trade places. FaZe could go from 3-5 to 4-5, and Carolina goes to 3-5, or FaZe could go to 3-6. Carolina conversely would go to 4-4, right? So looking at Carolina, their strengths come through in hardpoint, and that's really it. Hardpoint, and I mean, 40% it's not strength. 50% is not strength either. Their their map pool is very shallow. Like I said before, Major 1. It's like a kiddie pool in the middle of Antarctica. It's a frozen little pond. Um, hmm. You know, FaZe has looked so questionable, but this is their only series of the weekend. I'm gonna bet on Simp. So we'll say Ravens lose another game 5. Maybe they upset FaZe here. Maybe they upset me. But I'm gonna rock with the FaZe boys. I'm gonna say game 5 FaZe. And then we're going to do our G-Stake wagering here. If there's anything where I feel a little bit different in my gut, I'll change it. So we'll say Koi. We'll put 249 on this. Don't want to lose too much on C9 upset. We're taking Miami. Taking OpTic. Taking G2. Koi. Absolutely thinking Thieves here. Mate win. G2 win. Got 700 creds left. So we'll say 300 on Heretics. 200 on Thieves. I think they'll look better. I really do. And I'll say 200 on FaZe to end the weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you were able to follow along with everything I said. Hope everything made sense. If you have any ideas on things you differ with me about of, you know, different ways you see the weekend going, let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say on these videos. And once again, this is Chris from Esports, Exhortation, however, Filipino man these interwebs, and I will catch you guys on the next video tomorrow, which will be something a little bit different. I'm workshopping some different things I'm thinking of. Maybe it'll be a hot topic video. Who knows? Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be sure to come back to the channel and share with someone who you think might like it. And like, comment, subscribe, like I said before. Once again, this is Crazy Fake Source News Exhortation. However, the Filipino man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.